In today's video, we're going to look at a Lund Impact 1875 model. The customer wanted to do an upgrade. He wanted to basically change it from pure trolling boat to combination so he can actually stand on the front deck and fish using a trolling motor. So the first thing we checked is we went around the boat and looked at everything. You could see there initially we had a simple transducer. This is an old HDS 7. We're actually going to reutilize that and move that up to the bow for him. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm looking at what I need to change. So there's that 7 sitting on the console. I'd like to basically put the new unit right there. We're going to mount a trolling motor up front here. There, up top there, you could have seen a small aluminum plate. We're now discussing where we're putting that HDS 7 on the bow. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up using one of the Lund track rails. And there's that aluminum plate I mentioned. That's basically where the trolling motor is going to go when we're ready for it. So next thing we have to do is check our wiring access. Very, very important to figure out where we're going to run wires up to the bow. So when you look into the front panel there, you can see this is the area. We can run the cables up through there. There's actually a rigging tube, I'll show you in a moment, back in the battery box. So this is the plug that originally Lund had intended. There's nothing on the right-hand side. Normally on the newer Lunds, there's where that light is. There is a place to put your electronics unit. What we're going to do is we're going to do something a little different. So I'm looking at the wiring underneath to try to figure out what and where I can run stuff. So this is the battery box. Lund had pre-rigged this boat, so it basically had already pulled the power wiring for the trolling motor. It also gave me a breaker in there. We're going to reutilize that in a moment. So this is actually a fairly nice, easy, accessible battery box. In the box, we've got the 2 batteries. He's going to go with the standard lead batteries. We're going to pop a charger in there. We're going to get everything wired up. We're also going to use a rigging tool hole. So the first thing we do is we look at the trolling motor. What's very important is to look underneath that bow panel. Okay, that bow panel is aluminum clad with a marine grade plywood underneath. But what Lund did is they put these wires all through that panel there, which makes it kind of nice. But when you're trying to drill and put 6 holes in there, you really want to make sure that your space is not going to hit anything. So what I had to do is essentially reroute it. If you see, this is the plate installed. That plate got cut down a little bit. It's a 1/4-inch aluminum plate. This is how I took the trolling motor into the battery system. I didn't use the plug-in because this trolling motor was not going to be moved. Okay, so this is kind of a look at what we have. This is where the trolling motor power, all the wires came out of. I left the foot pedal loose. Okay, so let's figure out how to get everything powered up now. So I opened up the driver's console, and this is kind of a little mess I saw, but what I identified was the 2 wires that were very important to power up the thing. What I then did is I added a small fuse block. That fuse block let me feed to the bow with 10 gauge wire. This is the fuse block itself. This is the charger in place in the battery box. These are the batteries already in place, ready to go. This is the charger. One thing very important with that, make sure that you program it properly. So next thing we do is let's mount the new electronics. What I did is I drilled in the console unit, and that got bolted in. So this is a look at that unit itself. The other thing I had to do was put a new transducer in the stern. So the bow unit used the Lund rail system, which is kind of nice because what it did is it clamped everything down. So let's just look at the completed install here. Okay, so there's the trolling motor ready to go. It looks like from here, this angle, the head's off a little bit off the rail. However, if you look at a later on picture, you'll see that I had to do that for basically to make sure that bounce buster cleared one of the lockers. There's the antenna there. There's the HDS console unit or bow unit. There's the trolling motor pedal. Again, it's loose. All the cables are routed through those little cable covers there. It's made it nice and clean for the user. This is a look of the back side of that mount. I got the mount in the description if you want to look and see that. That actually works out pretty good. There's the cord for the charger there. So this is the console unit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to power it up, make sure it's all working. I double check the updates, make sure the update was there. One other thing I did with this boat, and I added a NMEA bus. And the idea with the NMEA bus is that I now was able to hook up the 7 on the bow. I also hooked up the trolling motor to the NMEA bus. That allowed me to, basically allows the customer to sit there at the console on the while he's driving the boat with the trolling motor and control the Ghost from that unit itself. So I did some configuration. At this point, what I'm doing is I'm discussing with the customer how things get configured, how to power everything off, and that's the way it works. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the battery box, show you what that looks like completed. Okay, and Lund, like I say, in this model, Lund, it makes it very easy to put a charger in there. I've actually got a space for yet another battery. Should he decide to either go 36 volts, or if he wants to add an active target to the boat, we can easily put another battery right in that location. So once we pull the cover up there, you can see the batteries. Okay, that cover is nice and tight, which is actually what you want. Everything is covered up. The wiring is pretty clean. If you look over to the right there, you can just barely see the wires that are routed through the car on the console. So this is the trolling motor itself. You can see there the bounce buster coming off the trolling motor. See how it's mounted behind that locker lid. Okay, there's the antenna. This is the 7 on the bow. Okay, it's in a pretty convenient location. The nice thing about with that little Lund ram mount, we can actually slide it up and down the rail in locations. This is where I routed the cables through. I did not use the plug-in, again, because this trolling motor is not going to be pulled off the boat. We just left it fixed on it pretty much. So, okay. I appreciate you guys watching this. Please like and subscribe the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.